What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Part of our live Saratoga coverage continues. No, I'm not at Saratoga right now, but I am in a parking lot. So maybe it kind of looks like I'm live on location, even though I'm not. But listen, I wanted to do a video about the Travers contenders right now as we sit about a month away from the race. Maybe a little early. There will be some changes, obviously, but my gosh, this is getting very exciting. This could be one of the better Travers we've seen. Of course, last year we saw a really good race, Essential Quality, Midnight Bourbon. Battled it out to the stretch. It was fascinating race, but let's not forget, Essential Quality was a huge favorite in that one. I don't think you're going to see a huge favorite this year. I think this is going to be really, really interesting. Let's kind of go over what I think are the probables, and we'll kind of go through that. Maybe they're iffy, maybe not. We'll see what happens. So let's start with Epicenter, the winner of the Jim Dandy, and oftentimes the Jim Dandy or the Curlin, for that matter, will produce a if not a Travers winner, they're going to all run pretty well in it, right? And so Epicenter gets the revenge over, a few horses like Early Voting, who beat him in the Preakness. He was no match for Epicenter in the Jim Dandy. He looked fantastic. And if he can repeat that effort, he's going to be tough to beat on Travers Day. Epicenter probably going to be the favorite after that win. It was impressive. Joel Rosario took him way back off the pace. I think people were really mad because Early Voting was, out there by himself. And we're like, oh my gosh. I mean, sitting on the rail, it's like, holy cow, Early Voting might take this, but not to be. Epicenter just rounded the corner on the far turn and just dominated. So Epicenter, certainly not a top contender. That's one that's probably going to be the favorite. Let's look at some others, though. This is interesting. So the Jim Dandy was a 4-horse race. There wasn't a lot of pace. Of course, Epicenter was last, so it's not like he had a great setup to win the Jim Dandy. But let's talk about Zandon, the horse that finished second to Epicenter, and he's been beaten by Epicenter a few times now. Maybe he's just not quite as good as him. He really hasn't had a lot of excuses in the Jim Dandy. He really didn't, and neither of the Kentucky Derby either. Not a lot of excuses. Should have won, but still, he's there. He's improving. He's a beautiful horse to see in person. Let me tell you that. He was gorgeous last Saturday in person. He's going to be another prime contender. He's going to run well, and I think a normal pace setup will help him. Unfortunately, I don't know if he can turn the corner on Epicenter, but Zandon, another one. So we have Epicenter. We have Zandon. I think Tawny Port, the third place finisher from the Jim Dandy. I don't think there's any reason for him not to run. In the Travers, he was right there with them. Was he a match for Epicenter? No, not really. But neither was Zandon. He was just behind Zandon, as Tawny Port was. So I think he's another one you're going to have to look out for. He's pretty sharp in the Ohio Derby. He got a nice win there. He did not embarrass himself in the Jim Dandy. So I think the top 3 finishers of the Jim Dandy will certainly be there. Another horse that I think is a definite to be there is Artorias, the winner of the Curlin Stakes. This Chad Brown horse is getting better with each start. He's only had 3 starts. He broke his maiden 2 races back, and then last time out, he was an impressive winner, like I said, in the Curlin, stalked the pace, kept inside, and just dominated the field. Took a look back at the top of the stretch, and you knew it was over then, and just kind of galloped home. He's getting better, and that's the key. He reminds me a lot of Arrogant himself, not talent level. I'm not going that far, but the way he's progressing, right? So you're going to look at his speed figures, and you're going to say he's not as good as Epicenter or Zandon right now, or maybe some of these other ones we're going to talk about. But neither was Arrogant coming into this race. So this horse is progressing, and that's what you want in the summer. Is he good enough to win the Travers? That's going to be the big question. It's a big step up from the Curlin to the Travers. It has been done before, and it's been done by horses that are a little less hyped than this one. This one looks really good. So, yeah, take a good look at Artorias. Another one that I think is at least at this point, is a definite is Charge It, the Todd Pletcher trainee who just skipped this round of preps. Did not run in the Haskell Curlin. Obviously, he couldn't run in the Curlin or the Jim Dandy. Charge It, of course, the winner of the Dwyer. He was fantastic. He earned a speed figure higher than any horse in the crop so far. 2-turn record is the question. He did not win the Florida Derby. He was second in that race. And he was also just a disaster in the Kentucky Derby, but he had some problems. Don't really hold that against him. Take a line through that one. But if he can carry that kind of brilliance around 2 turns and really put it all together, Charge It's going to be a big factor in the Travers. Let's not forget, Charge It was a horse that was very late onto the scene, and he was pushed into races that he probably wasn't quite ready for. There's no pushing him now. Notice how patient they were. They skipped this round. They want him 100% for that Travers. I think he's going to run a really good race. So keep an eye on Charge It. Don't forget about him. Other horses, now let's get into some that are questionable for the race. I'll start with Early Voting, the horse that was fourth in the Jim Dandy. You might have watched that race and said, why in the world would you be talking about Early Voting? I was there in person last Saturday. I picked Early Voting to win. I saw Early Voting coming from across the road over to the walkway to go to the paddock, and I knew we weren't winning that race. He was very lethargic. I mean, extremely lethargic. I followed him all the way down the lane at Saratoga, all the way to the paddock. The horse never lifted his head one time. I am not an expert on body language in horses. Let me be very clear. And maybe you're going to interpret that differently than me. But I've been around horses long enough now and seen them come over to know when one's not quite right or when one is really, really doing well. I looked at the guys I was with and said, Early Voting has no chance to win this race. He looks completely uninterested. And by the way, his other three competitors looked fantastic. So I knew we were in big trouble. Listen, maybe it just wasn't his day. I'm not saying he was injured or anything like that. I'm just saying maybe he didn't feel like running. Maybe he was a little hot, whatever. I would draw a line through the Jim Dandy for him. I wouldn't have ever said that if I wasn't there at the track, but watching that horse, he was not into it. He did not want to be there. Even when they got to the track, he was kind of keeping his head low, and the jockey was almost pulling his head up at times. So I would draw a line through it for Early Voting. He's better than that. I'm not sitting here and going to speculate what's wrong with him. I have no idea. Maybe it's nothing. I have no idea. But that horse that I saw on Saturday was not into it, and he might bounce back. So keep an eye on Early Voting. Who knows if he's even at the Travers, but he's one that I have a question mark on right now, and we'll see what happens with him. He might wait for a different race, though. Other question mark, Cyberknife, the winner of the Haskell. I think that at first asking, or not first asking, when they first asked Brad Cox, he said, yeah, the Travers is probably something we're going to look at. So we'll see with Cyberknife if he comes. Obviously, put it all together in the Haskell. He had always shown talent, but just had some trouble kind of mentally putting it all together, finishing races strongly. He really finished strongly in the Haskell to hold off Taba. So Cyberknife, certainly one to keep an eye on. I'll mention Taba. I don't think there's much chance he comes to the Travers. His trainer, Bob Baffert, can't run horses at NYRA, so he'd have to switch trainers again. I don't think they'll want to do that. I think they'll wait till Pennsylvania Derby. But if Taba shows up, certainly he's one to look at. A few more that we'll kind of go through here, and I guess one that is a definite that we've skipped over, that I accidentally skipped over, Rich Strike. The Kentucky Derby winner is supposedly going to run in the Travers. He's pointing for the race, working out for it. We'll see. I don't have much confidence in Rich Strike, but he does add intrigue to any race that he enters because nobody's going to ever forget that horse and what he did at the Kentucky Derby. So Rich Strike certainly could be, he's going to take money probably above anything else. Three other questionable horses that I will mention. Creative Minister, he was not good in the Curlin, but I could see them wheeling back and trying. The Travers, he's going to have to improve. His last two races were not good. Nest, the filly, they're talking about this horse. We'll see what happens. I think they'll go to the Alabama, where they're likely to be 1-9 in a grade 1 race. Hard to not do that, but if they get ambitious, they could try the boys again. And hey, you know that she runs well against the boys. She almost won the Belmont Stakes. She was second in that race. So look out for Nest. We'll have updates on that, I'm sure, several times to see what Nest ultimately does. And finally, last but not least, my inside information says the Iowa Derby winner, Ain't Life Grand, could be pointing for the Travers. That would be very cool if so. My good buddies, the Von Hemels, have this horse. Kelly Von Hemel, the trainer. Kelby Von Hemel, the farrier, and that's the most important part, right? But Ain't Life Grand, listen, I've heard they may be pointing for this race. He won the Iowa Derby. He also won an Iowa bred stakes, I should say, at Prairie Meadows 2 weeks after winning that Iowa Derby. We'll see. The Iowa bred coming to Saratoga, win, lose, whatever he does, it would be a cool story. It would be awesome to see Kelly and the gang here, and so let's hope it happens. So Ain't Life Grand, that's the last one we'll talk about here. So as you can tell, even if we get 70%, let's say, of the horses that I've listed off, and then maybe get one or two more that we don't have yet, it's going to be a hell of a race. It's going to be an awesome race. So the Travers is going to go a long way in determining who's going to win that 3-year-old of the year. I think Epicenter is going to be the favorite. Doesn't mean he's going to win. He's lost races where he probably should have won. He might do it again. He might not. He looked awfully good last Saturday. He's certainly going to be the favorite. It's going to be a fun race to handicap. So, all right, guys, I was just too excited about the Travers. I was sitting home with the family. I said, no, I'm going to drive to Starbucks. The internet's not working. I just have to tell people about this Travers. So there it is. Travers Contenders for you right there, live from the Starbucks in Plattsburgh, New York. I will be there on Travers Day. I'll be there most weekends here throughout the rest of the meet. So, guys, thanks, everybody, for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to hit like. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do it. You'll get alerted when we do any videos like this. So even if you like a couple of the videos that we've done, go ahead and subscribe. You'll get a few more. So thanks, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next time.